and uh, we have time, because I have to decide before the last session what or the second from last session actually, which story is going to be selected from the kind of monk stories, which one is going to be selected as the one that will appear in the anthology. So definitely you have time to do that. And as I said, I've only looked at parts of most of your stories, so I will look at them more properly in the time to come, so that I can make a decision about which one will be included in the anthology. After that story, all the other stories, all of your story number 2 will be included in the anthology. So the first one is more used to learn how to do this, and one of them, the one that I deem to be best, will be in the anthology. Okay, so yeah, so where was I? Oh yeah, so about the English, we have that. Also, there's a small thing. This is not as big. This is hyphenated adjectives. It's that when you have an adjective that is composed of 2 words, you have to connect them with a hyphen. That's a very simple rule. So just I don't know, can someone think of an adjective with 2 words? I don't know, what enters my head right now is my best friend Bonanza, right? Where Bonanza is a noun and best friend is an adjective, because best friend is actually 2 nouns, but they make an adjective together because they describe the noun Bonanza. So best friend have to be hyphenated and put together with a hyphen.
Happy-go-lucky, that would also be hyphenated.
Yes, if it's used adjectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you use it in front of a noun, so if you say happy-go-lucky, my happy-go-lucky friend, as you say, happy hyphen go hyphen lucky. Very good. Yeah. Okay, and then there is also a very classical one in Romania, which is the prepositions of place. So the prepositions of place, it's very easy to remember that because in Romanian you say merg în Franța, whereas in English you say what?
La Franța, if
Yeah.
you translate it.
Yeah, exactly. I go to France. So basically, and I'm going to the store. I'm going to my course. So
I'm going to my friend's place.
Exactly. So like that, you can always basically, if you want to say in, just take a moment and think if you really want to say in or if you want to say to. So it's quite simple. And then there is the last thing, which is past perfect. So past perfect is a very simple rule, and that is that it's something that happens before the past simple. So generally your story will take place in the past simple. So once upon a time, there was a princess, and the princess went to her father, but before going to him, she had already been to see her mother. So it happened before this past simple, and so the past perfect is very useful to have in your arsenal, because you will use it in storytelling, because it's anything that comes before what's happening in the story.
It's funny to listen to you talk about this, because I was teaching sequence of tenses and past perfect to my students earlier today. It's
Okay.
nice to hear somebody else do the same thing now.
Okay. Okay. Great. So you know what I'm talking about. Um, good. And so now we will look a little bit at yeah. So we will look a little bit at show don't tell, and afterwards we will look again at how we are going to do this ebook. Um, Actually, let's do that now. Let's talk about it a little bit now, about the organizational stuff about this ebook that we are going to publish on Amazon and hopefully on some other platforms as well. So the thing about this is that we're going to it's going to be formatted in a specific way. There's going to be a cover, and we will do the formatting together in the last lesson, but also I will give you some instructions for how to format your second story so that it will make it easier in the last session to publish it. And it will go more smoothly when we have to format it for Amazon Kindle. So the big thing for us to think about, however, at this point is the cover, because the cover has to have a certain, it has to have a certain illustration. So if you've seen ebook covers, I mean, basically what it is it's an illustration, then you have the title, the author name, but in this case we won't have the author name on the cover. We'll have it inside because there are so many of us, or so many of you. But well, I will include myself as well as the editor. So what I'll show you how we're going to do the cover, and how I usually do covers that are, you know, easily done. So let me see. And this is something that you can use yourselves also. Let's see. All right, so this is canva.com. It's right, I'm already logged in, that's good. And so now you can, let me just see what they changed it. Okay, they changed the, okay, let me just see. Yeah, so, okay, so creative design is up on the right. Okay, so we can do, let's, okay, so you can see what I'm doing, right? You can see Canva? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So here you can see that there are various templates. I mean, these are not templates actually. This is more like sizes of covers. So what you have here is, okay, I don't know why ebook is not coming up.
Maybe it's under book cover.
Yeah, you're right. They've changed it because before
Yeah.
they had one called Kindle cover, which was perfect because it was Amazon's recommended dimensions. But I mean, since Amazon already has like 85% of the market, this is probably exactly in the Kindle dimensions. And then, you know, and so here we have it. This is it, and here are some templates that I've used, you know, lately. And of course, then there are photos, etc., that you can use. I don't like the Canva photos all that much, but in general. But okay, these are nice. But what I would say is that when you see what we do is like, for example, we can move this one over here, And then, I mean, now it's not going to look great, right? But just to show you, so here we have, yeah, so I chose a horizontal one, what's called landscape. Okay, so here we are, and bang, then we have this illustration, and then we choose text, and then we, for example, add a heading, and we give this one, you know, I don't know, my book. And of course, we can't see anything here because of the background, but then we can change the text color, uh, for instance, to white, you know. Yeah, so, yeah, so, but you get the idea. So what we need is an illustration that will fit with what the stories are. So we'll start to get a bit of an idea about how the stories are according to the course, you know, as the course progresses. And any of you who wants to do something about the cover is welcome to. And if there are different candidates, then we will, you know, then we will vote on the candidates for the illustration, and whichever one wins will be the one that we will use. So yeah, so let's have a look a little bit at those stories that we have so far. So let me see here. I have, yeah, I just have to be sure that I know which is which. My God. Okay. Okay. Did I mark it? Okay. So I have. Yeah. So what I noticed about most of your stories is that um, that they're generally mostly telling, and not as much showing, mostly telling. So the thing is that if you want, I mean, the way that you see a story that is mostly telling is if the story has like a narrator who is basically telling it, like, and saying, okay, who is saying, yeah, then he found out that this and this made him change this, or something like that, you know, so that it becomes something that is more of, I'm telling you how this person felt, and um, I'm telling you what these things mean, which is crucial in telling. So if you tell the person what these things mean, then the reader is not going to be allowed to draw their own conclusions. Okay, so the thing about telling is that it's not always bad. I mean, there are some telling stories that are very good and that actually work better for telling. And I noticed this about fairy tales, for example. Fairy tales will always be telling. Like, once upon a time, there was a princess who was very beautiful. This is telling, right? You know what I mean? Like, after we discussed it a little bit last time, that if I say beautiful, then I'm not allowing you to see and draw the conclusion yourself that the person is beautiful. But it works very well in a fairy tale. And I had an example of someone who did good telling. I can't remember her name. Whoever you are, can you tell me?
I think it was me, Raluca.
Raluca, yeah. Okay. Okay, chasing meaning. Yeah. Good. So I'm just gonna share the share this one. Let's see, chasing meaning. Yeah. So all right, just move this up a little bit. Okay. So yeah, scroll a bit better. Okay. Okay. So the crack of dawn was quickly approaching as the cold air entering the chamber through the little window started to slowly make its way to him. Two shy strands of morning sun had already entered the floor of his room and were building their way up to the walls. He traced their contours from afar with his index finger, still sitting in bed. Okay, so this is actually a bad, from my side, a bad example of that, because in the beginning of the story, this is quite showing actually, because you're describing a situation. The only things I would say, technically speaking, because this is good in the way that you show. So technically speaking, and I know it sounds a little bit dictatorial, is that when we do very strict show don't tell, then we don't use, and I didn't say this before, so it's not a criticism, we don't use adverbs. So the crack of dawn was quickly approaching through the, and also we don't like to use adjectives. So through the little window, okay. So an art in show don't tell is if you can avoid using adverbs, like completely ban adverbs, and also minimize the use of adjectives as much as possible. So slowly make its way to him. So the idea is that if you can use verbs instead to do it, like, for example, and here it's not going to sound great, but one thing, and I will say, Raluca, this is well written, okay? So this criticism, this is, you know, this is only for the strict show don't tell, because you do show this situation, right? But one thing that, so now we're just talking technically, okay? So so as the cold air entering the chamber through the little window started to slowly make its way to him, that's quite good. But if we were to do strict show don't tell, we can say started creeping towards him, for example. So in the verb creeping, you have the idea of it being slow, because it helps in show don't tell, because if you use a verb like creeping, then the reader will think, oh, that means if it's creeping, it was quite slow, and then they make the judgment about it. Two shy strands, morning sun, etc. But let me just see. Yeah, I should have marked this. I was doing all the reading in a hurry, so I should have marked the place with good telling. Okay. Here we are. Katz knew he would have to commit soon, that his whole life would forever be handed to him on a silver platter to a higher power he was not sure even existed. So again, this is okay. So in general, the story is well written. So, but here we can talk about telling, but it's good telling. So it's telling that draws me in. But when you tell me he knew he would have to commit soon, right? That is like getting into, okay, telling us the what's it called, the, the solution, right? This is the situation, and this is what is happening in this situation. Whereas if you say, like, for example, if instead you have a situation where somebody says, well, you know, when you make that vow, there's no way back, and then cut sort of fidgets, that's showing, right? That's extreme showing, because then you don't say he knew he would have to commit soon and he didn't feel so great. I mean, his life would be handed to him on a silver platter. Like, it would be so predictable what would happen, because you would see it would be shown in the way that he moves, for example, using something physical to show what he's thinking. So let's see, I had some good, okay, so I'm going to also use, Laura, can I use yours?
Yeah, of course.
Excellent. So do you see the new document now with Wana? The one that says the search, is it being shared?
No.
No?
I think you should stop share and share screen again, a new
Okay,
one.
okay.
That usually works.
Okay. Let's see, share screen. Okay, so now you see it, right? The search.
Right.
Okay. So I'm sorry that I had to do a little bit of searching here, and this is because I didn't mark up the place. I was in a hurry. So yeah, this one. Okay, suddenly he saw a small house behind the trees. He entered and he realized that he had discovered the hidden place the abbot of the monastery used to come and paint. In the middle, he saw a painting of an unimaginably beautiful young girl. So he understood. The rumors about the unofficial daughter of the abbot were true. Okay. So you're going with the less scandalous version of the abbot and not the Pope. Oh, that's fine enough. Yeah, the Pope, that's quite extreme. But what really shook his universe was not this breakthrough, but the beauty of the girl. It was something beyond what he could ever imagine existed. Okay, so, and there you have again, of course, past tense and then present tense, so it has to be past tense again. Anyway, here, but this is again, this is well written and we get the idea very well. But it's a good example of telling that we can use to sort of change to make more showing. Okay, so what in this passage is most telling? Can somebody tell me this? Laura, yourself, or somebody else? Whoever talks first.
The actions, I guess, the actions that are sequenced one after another, right?
Okay, it's not so much the actions, because there are actions also in showing, right?
I think it's the unimaginably beautiful young girl.
Aha, right. Who spoke here? Because
No, Liana, you don't see us, I know.
who is it? Sorry?
Liana.
Liana. Okay, so you're right. Okay, the unimaginably beautiful young girl. So here we have a double sin, you know, and which means that so unimaginably is an adverb. And I did not tell you last time to avoid adverbs, because now what it was about was just to get these stories down, right? But and also to give me some great material to demonstrate with. So of course I put you a little bit in a trap there. So the adverbs are now, like, for those of you who want to practice show don't tell, this is technical. adverbs are banned, right? Try to write a story without any adverbs. And then afterwards, you can let them back in after you master the arts of show don't tell. So I'm not saying that everybody is going to do this. In each course, there are some people who decide, I'm not going to do show don't tell because for whatever reason, and maybe they get something else out of it. But show don't tell, yeah, show don't tell is show don't tell is something that I'm sorry, this is just okay. It's something that we use, and it's very good to learn technically, but something that we but something that we that is kind of hard to do. It takes some time to learn. So when I was writing The World, it took me some time. I spent some time really rewriting and putting in show don't tell, and then afterwards, making it a bit less extreme after that. But it's a very, very good technical exercise. So if you want to go full throttle with show don't tell, remove all adverbs, and if you want to, and then reduce the number of adjectives. Anyway, so why do we not like Unimaginably Beautiful Young Girl?
Because if it's unimaginable, then I just can't imagine it. So I don't actually know what she looks like.
Right, that's right. So that's one thing. And another thing is also that it's a judgment. It's a judgment that says, she is so beautiful. And so there's nothing wrong with writing this in a story. But if we practice show don't tell, then we can try to make the reader
Imagine her.
feel that she is beautiful and see her, right? So yeah, so let me see. All right, damn, I gotta move your faces a bit so that I can see the text. All right, yeah. So okay, so let's see what else is. Yeah, he realized he had discovered the hidden place of the abbot of the monastery. Okay, so here we can also make it. We can also say, well, he realized this. This is, we're telling what he realized and what his conclusions were. But let's show it instead. Let's go first to the unimaginably beautiful young girl. Does anyone have a suggestion to how we can change this? And I just want to mention, Laura, that there's not a specific criticism against your story. It's just now I've picked this one so that we can, we can take it apart and really, get down and dirty and try to make it show. And it's not even, when we do this now, this is a technical exercise, so it doesn't mean that it will actually be better afterwards, because for it to be better, sometimes it has to get worse first. Okay, so the result that we will make now might look worse, but it will be more show don't tell, and then afterwards, as you do more iterations, you will make it look better and better. So usually what happens when you learn show don't tell is that you your text starts by getting longer because you have to get all these details in to make it more showing. But then after that, when you start mastering the arts of show don't tell, you can do it shorter. You can make it shorter. And you can actually make it shorter than if it was telling. So yeah, it's a process. So it's good that we're starting it now. Yeah, so anyone has a suggestion about the unimaginably beautiful young girl? So in the middle, he saw a painting of an unimaginably beautiful young girl. So in the context there, what can we say?
If you said something like, but there will be repetition in this because it's off the top of my head.
Yeah, of course.
People who saw her picture could be seen staring at it for hours.
Not exactly. Okay, I get what you're saying, but the thing is, then that's also telling, because if we are in the situation where the guy has entered and we're showing that he's entering, we're showing the situation. If you then say that people in general, right, people who see this painting would stare at it for hours, then you're saying this is how this painting was, this is how awesome it was. So we have to see it there in that situation where he enters, and we have to see his reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anybody? Please, there are only a few people who have spoken, so guys, you're all welcome to say something. It doesn't have to be good. It's just make it more showing.
If I say something like his urge was to go near it so he could take in every single
That's also telling.
fa.
Because then you're telling his thoughts and his urge is this and that. You have to show his urge, not tell it. So you see, this is difficult, okay? So you understand, Laura, I'm not picking on you, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Good.
I don't think I get the point. So it's maybe something like comparing with something else. Maybe a comparison would work.
That's what I was thinking, actually. I was thinking that a painting that reminded him of Venus de Milo, something like that.
That's also telling, because you're telling what he feels about the painting or what he thinks about the painting. So it's not bad telling, but now we're just being very extreme with our show don't tell. So to make it a proper show don't tell, we have to say something like, okay, so he entered and okay, he entered the house, and for example, he walked through the door and dropped his, I don't know, dropped whatever he was holding in his hand, or knocked over something, you know. It's not like I'm not thinking of something great right now, but he entered and his mouth opened, for example. His mouth opened and stayed open, for example. Okay. You see what I'm doing there? Just a second. Sorry, I'm very sorry about this, but someone is ringing my doorbell, and it could be something important. Just a second, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. So,
Somebody knocked on my door, so it was perfect timing for
oh
me.
wow, synchronicity. So do you see what I'm doing there? He entered the room, and his mouth dropped, his jaw dropped, for example. Okay, that's a cliche, his jaw dropped, but it's still showing. You
You
understand?
know, you make me think of the fact that I was gonna say a jaw-droppingly beautiful painting, and that's showing, that's telling.
That's
But if
telling.
you say his jaw dropped, then it's telling.
Then it's showing. Yeah.
Then it's showing. Yeah, sorry, I
Mhm.
got them mixed up. But it's funny
Exactly.
because it's the same words, but once
Hmm.
you use it as an adjective, and then the other time you
It's
describe
an adverb.
an action or a reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely correct. Do people get this? Um, so do you? Okay, so we have to show it through something physical, right? So or not necessarily physical, but somebody's reaction. Um, so let's say, for example, he walked through the door and his jaw dropped. And now, what can we say um, about the painting? Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, Papa. Okay, so so yeah, so what we can say is something that is more neutral. We don't say an unimaginably beautiful young girl. We say something that is more neutral from our perspective, but um, but that is something that the reader understands. We don't tell the reader. You see, we don't tell the reader that she is so beautiful and all that. We show the reaction of the character, and the reader thinks, "Whoa, why did this character react like this? It's strange. Why is he reacting like this? What is it with this picture?" You know. So we can just say, like, does anyone have a suggestion for something neutral to say about this?
It's quite abstract.
Okay.
Like when you say neutral, you mean, can I use adjectives at all? Like if I say the woman inside the painting um, was staring, no.
It's so we have to be very careful. Um, you could just say, for example, on the canvas in front of him was, for example, you could use adjectives. Yeah, you could say, because I'm not. I would have to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite, right? But off the top of my head, you could say was the silhouette of a young woman or something like that, you know. And so the narrator sounds very neutral. The silhouette of a young woman. Yeah, okay. So I'm not, as a narrator, you're not telling the reader what to think about this young woman. You're just saying a young woman. But crucially, you know that his jaw stayed open and it kept open. And then we could go on, like then he realizes later that his jaw is still open, or something like that, because that really tells you that this is something big. Okay.
If I say then something like, as he looked more at it, his heart began racing. Is that in the same line as what you're doing, or is that again telling?
That's again telling, right? Because now you're not like looking at him from, now you know that his heart is racing, and now you're telling, you're like the all-knowing narrator.
Okay, because I can
And-
see the jaw, but I can't know about the heart unless
Mhm.
I'm omniscient and all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, okay, and of course, this whole paragraph is, it's like suddenly he saw a small wood house behind the trees. Also, suddenly is an adverb. We can change this, right? So if we look at what was happening before this, so the heat of the sun and the vivid colors of the flowers fed him the serenity he was looking for at that hour of the day. And so suddenly, after that, conveys the message. What is the situation here? Can someone tell me? What's the situation? Okay, so the situation is that he's in serenity, right? This is what Laura is describing. So he's, and it's nice. It's like there's the sense of the lilies, and he's walking around the garden. He's very much at peace. And then suddenly something happens. All right, so that's what you're telling us.
Mhm.
But but suddenly, of course, tells us that it was sudden.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's what the word is for, right? But we can show this by doing something physical also. Like, what can we show? I mean, how can we show that, that he was surprised, or, how can we show surprise or discovery or something like that?
His walking was interrupted by
Mm-hmm.
something he
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah.
I would
Very,
say spontaneously saw, but you will not allow me to.
ooh, spontaneous. No.
No, I got it.
Yeah, we have a fatwa against adverbs. So no.
Okay.
So no, we can't use adverbs, but we can say he was walking, and then I don't know, what happens.
Interrupted.
What happens when somebody suddenly stops walking and like reorient themselves? What does that look like?
That something kept his attention.
That's telling.
You stop and go to something else. Sorry, you change your.
So I don't know. I'm just asking you. What does it look like if you see it from the outside? What does it look like if someone is walking like this, and then whoop, they stop and they kind of, what's over here? What does that look like to you?
That a new element appears.
Yeah, but that's telling. That's a conclusion. We don't. What I'm asking about. Okay, so I know that I'm being a bit, insistent here, but that is because I realize that it is a difficult thing, and we have to keep hammering home the point, because we're not used to thinking like that. We're used to thinking in telling. Like, as normal people, we're thinking of telling. Like, if you go to a friend and say, well, what happens today? Then you say, well, my boss is such an asshole. He said that this, and it's constantly telling, right? But the art of writing fiction means that we have to remove judgment, and we have to learn to think, what does this actually look like? It's like a way of experiencing the world in a new way, or afresh, like a child.
A surprise.
Yeah, but we can't say surprise because that's also telling. So what does it look like when someone is walking and then they stop and
Like they just remembered something.
That's also telling. That's a conclusion. What does it look like? Imagine, what does it look like? You see somebody walking on the streets. Let me tell you a story. Somebody is walking down the street. Mr. Popescu is walking down the street. Then he realizes, oh my God, I forgot my car keys. And then he realizes that he did forget his car keys. He turns back and he goes home. That's telling. How will you make that into showing? You're from the outside and you're seeing him walking. You don't even know his name is Mr. Popescu, right? You just see a man walking. How does it look?
A guy was walking down the street,
Mm-hmm.
and then at one point he stopped. He looked around him.
Okay.
He started feeling his pockets.
Yeah.
Um,
That's crucial. He's probably patting his pockets, right? Yeah.
He searched in his bag.
Search is also a little bit telling. So I know I'm like a dictator now, but
he reached for his bag and he put his hand inside it.
Yes.
And then took his coat off and began shaking it.
Mm-hmm. That's it. You get the idea. That's what it looks like.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, because we're not used to thinking like that. We're used to jumping to the conclusion all the time instead of showing something. So it's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of thinking.
Sorry, Robin, but it's still telling because you describe some actions. It's just to describe some actions to understand the behind what. I don't get it. Sorry.
Okay. So which part of it is it that you feel is telling?
This is describing again. This is telling that the guys look into his pocket, shaking his coat, and.
But you don't know what he's actually doing. You don't know he's looking for the keys. I haven't told you that.
Yes,
you see,
we're not telling you the conclusion. We're not saying.
Okay, we just describe what is he doing without giving the final.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you as the reader make the conclusion, right? So yes,
right,
I see.
Right. Now I get it. Yeah. Okay.
So
okay.
Sure, we don't say he realized he forgot his keys and then he walked back. That's telling. We say he stopped, he patted his pockets, he looked, I don't know, his eyes widened. If you were close enough, you heard him swearing. He turned around and walked back, and or marched back. You can use a stronger verb like he marched back or he ran back. We don't say he rushed back because that's telling that he's in a hurry. We say he ran, for example. That's showing, because then you put those things together and you say, aha, he must have forgotten his keys.
Mm-hmm.
And what other conclusion do you draw apart from the fact that he's forgotten his keys?
That he really needs to take the car.
Yeah.
And he needs to do that now, because otherwise
Now.
he'll be running.
He,
No,
and probably what is the situation?
he's in a hurry. He might
Mhm.
be late somewhere.
Let's say he has a cup of coffee in his hand.
He goes to the office and
Exactly.
he'll be late if he's not.
Exactly, right? So we have all those showing elements. He
Yeah.
is walking, he stops, he has a cup of coffee in his hand, he is hitting his pockets, he turns around, he runs back, he throws out his coffee, you know, his coffee is spilling everywhere, he throws it out, he just throws it on the street, right? This is showing, right? And now you feel, now you're like, wow, now we're getting somewhere, you know, you're like, damn, this guy really needs to get to the office, and he's stressed, and you get the feeling, right? So
Right,
you get the feeling in your own body. So that's what show don't tell does. If you just say, one morning, Mr. Popescu was late for work, he left, but then he realized he had forgotten his keys. He was really in a hurry, so then it doesn't
Yes.
have any, it's just like, oh yeah, okay, I know what you mean. It's like,
It doesn't engage the imagination.
no, because we've all been late for work and all that, and we're like, okay, yeah, whatever, yeah. But then if you see him like throwing his coffee and all this big stuff happening, then
Mhm.
you get
You
the feeling
describe the situation, not the actions.
No, not the conclusions, not the
Yeah.
motivation. You don't tell the motivation. So yeah, so that was that. And now I want to show an example of some good telling. Let me see. I will. Okay, let's see. Where was it? Who was it I wrote to saying that you have some good telling going on there? I wrote to you that you have some good telling and some not as
Yeah,
good
I
telling.
think it was me. I think
Okay.
it was me,
Who are
Eliza.
you? Eliza.
Eliza.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll find it. All right. So just a second. I'll share screen again. Damn, it's not here. What's going on? I don't know why it's not here. Okay. I'm gonna find it. It's yeah, it's because it's in PDF and
Oh yeah, sorry for sending you like a PDF instead of a Word document.
it's okay, but it's
I'm
as
used,
if
I'm used to converting them like all the time into PDFs, so that's why.
okay. Let me just see. It's because now that I've just opened it, yes, now I can open. Now I can show it. Okay, so the PDF. Okay. Yeah. So let's have a look. Yeah. So here we have the first. I yellowed in. As you can see here, I saw her the way she graciously strode across the paved area around the garden end before I even realized my toes were already clutching the petals of some flowers, and the water can was on the ground, little trickles of water sliding under it. Okay, so there's one thing here that I've just told you we don't do, and what is that?
Don't use the adverbs.
Exactly, graciously.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. But this is a good telling passage anyway, because of what? What is it that makes it telling?
The fact that what it makes it telling, because I was thinking that it's like kind of his reaction when.
Oh, sorry. Good showing. Good showing.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I see. Yeah, I think his reaction, the fact that he reacts to after he
Exactly.
sees the blood.
This was very good. My toes were already clutching the petals of some flowers, and the water can was on the ground, little trickles of water sliding under it. Wow, yeah. So you really see his reaction here, and it's not just that he's clutching the petals of some flowers with his toes, but also the water cans on the ground, and the water is streaming along, so you can really feel it. Okay. Of course, I would try to avoid little, and I would avoid graciously, and this one, before I even realized, is also kind of telling, but it's not bad, and the rest of it is definitely showing. So that's very good. Yeah, let's see. Oh, did I have something over here? Yeah. Oh, I think the outside world is full of, I started saying, but the Pope started laughing, and his hand rested for a few moments on my shoulder. Great, great showing, because you don't say that he was anxious, you don't say he was trying, you're not telling us he was trying to agree with the Pope, he was trying to be agreeable and all that, and the Pope was very understanding. You don't give us any of the conclusions, you just show what happens and we make those conclusions. So that's very good. That's showing. Let me see what else we had. All right, a sneaky smile blossoming on her lips. So here, there's one word that is very good, and one word that is a bit.
Blossoming is good, sneaky isn't as good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you get it. Blossoming is very good because it's a strong verb. It's a verb that isn't just, I don't know, she smiled or something. It's a more detailed verb that really shows what it looks like, and you could do something. I mean, like to show that it's sneaky rather than telling us that it's sneaky, but this is technical. I mean, once you have got used to writing more, you can use sneaky again. I mean, this is more like, and we're trying to learn to eliminate those things, and so that we learn that you can do it with strong verbs. And then once you've learned to do that, you learn to think in that way, you can let the adjectives back in, and then even once in a while, very seldomly, use an adverb.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Okay. But I really recommend that you do that, and especially you, Eliza, because you already grasp show don't tell very well. So if you try to go extreme with it, that could really give you a boost. Yeah. So let me see. Okay. So now I want to, yeah. So now I would like to ask, whilst you were writing, any of you, when you were writing your story for this time, did some questions crop up about the story, about how to write the story, etc.? No. Okay. So what we will do regarding this story is that we will use regarding this story, we will just continue as is. You're welcome to edit your story for next time using the feedback that I've already given you about English and about show don't tell. And you're welcome to do that and to send it to me. At the same time, I really recommend starting to plan your second story already at this point. So do you have the board, what's it called, the whiteboard from that we used last time? I think, does everybody have that as a file so that you know what things you have to do in the snowflake method?
In theory, yes.
Yeah.
Good, good. Do you have some questions about when you sit down with the snowflake method yourselves about the process?
First, we should think to the story as the line, the red line of the story, and then start to write, or just start to write and change it
Well,
during the process.
so don't just start writing, because then you will waste a lot of time. I mean, I've done it myself many times, but of course we don't have so much time here, and also this is a course where you learn the technical side of things. So I really recommend doing the structure first. So I think that, yeah, so you can either start with the tagline or you can start with the protagonist. I like to start with the protagonist because the protagonist, when you know who your protagonist is, it sort of becomes like it really narrows down what could happen in the story. Because if the protagonist is, obviously, I mean, if it's a guy with no hair, then it won't be a story about somebody trying to find the best hairdresser in town. Or I mean, you get what I mean. So as long as you know who the protagonist is, it's not just that, but it's many, many things. So when you know your protagonist, you know a lot about your story, especially when you know the conflicts of the protagonist and the motivation of the protagonist. You already start to have your story, because the story structure is built up around the motivation and the conflicts of the protagonist in general. So yeah. So I like to start with the protagonist, but if you get inspired with a certain tagline, you can start with the tagline. And then after that, create the protagonist. And then after that, the paragraph structure. Do you feel like there's something we haven't been through?
I'm confused because when you say start with the tagline, you mean in terms of our own draft, like the tagline is not something that actually goes into the story, right?
I don't mean start by writing the tagline in the story. You don't start by writing the story. So okay, let me make this clear. So for next time, which is time number 3, session number 3, I would like to have your snowflake method plan structure for your story. I don't want you to write your story yet. I just want you to create the structure of the story. I mean,
Similar with what we've done last time.
yes, exactly. So just doing the same thing as we did last time, but this time with your own protagonist, your own story, however you want to do it. And then please send it to me by email so that I can give you some feedback about this story, whether it's going to work, because we only have 5 sessions, as I've mentioned. This course is usually 7 sessions long, and that is why I don't know. I don't know if I'm coming across a little bit strict here, but I'm trying to mash in 7 sessions into 5 because yeah, the foundation wanted us to do this in 5 sessions. So therefore, we should, you know, we need to be clear about where we're going. And this is also actually a good thing, because that is a classic trap for writers, including myself, of getting lost in what if this, what if that, oh, I could change it to this, oh, I have infinite time, right? So what I'm trying to do with this course is do the opposite and say, okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to get it done, and we're going to publish in 3 weeks' time. We're publishing in an anthology, okay? So, so you see, the purpose of this is also to give you that that experience that, hey, wait, if I log into Amazon, if I go to Amazon.com now, I can see a book with my name on it, and that means that I did this. This thing is out there. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not the perfect story and all that, but I did it all the way. I planned it, I wrote it, I formatted it, published it, and now it's there. So I've been through this whole process, and I can do it again. So that's
Okay,
the kind of feeling I want to give you.
just to make sure that I've understood clearly, for next time, the homework is just to write the plan in terms of the protagonist, the tagline, and to write a paragraph structure for our story, but not to start writing the actual story until we get your feedback.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. And the reason for this is also because I want to give you feedback, and the sooner you send it to me, the sooner I can give you feedback, so you can perhaps also start writing before next time, writing the story proper. But it's a good thing, and also in reality, it's very likely that we will actually next time be going through at least some of your structures in class, you know. And it's important to see whether there are some inconsistencies. And I know how important that is, because on a much bigger level, when I wrote the novel The World, those inconsistencies, you know, like cost me, you know, it didn't cost me, but it took, added perhaps a year onto the time it took to write that story or that novel, but it taught me a lot, you know, about what to do and what not to do. So I recommend, you know, I recommend getting a solid structure from the beginning. So yeah, that's why. So if I can give you feedback on that, and then you can learn from that, you can go back and redo the draft if necessary. And if we do it in class, then we can perhaps redo the draft directly in class and make sure that, yeah, that things are as they should do as you continue on.
So would you say then that the ideal situation is one in which when you start, you already know what the ending will be?
Good question.
Well, yeah, yes and no. Okay, that's the ideal technical point. Yeah, but writing fiction is not just a technical practice. So when it's like the best from my point of view, and this is a good question, Liana. So the best way you can go as a writer is if you have very good technique and good discipline. You continue along the path, as a warrior, and just do the stuff you need to do and follow the formulas you need to follow. And then a ghost comes into the machine that you are building and makes you do something different than you had expected, and the story ends in a different way. And you would never have guessed that would have happened. It's like sometimes something dark enters the story, and it's this darkness that we're looking for. So we have to have a lot of light and order and all this stuff and progress. We can't get lost in chaos, but there has to be that little spark of the unknown that comes in. That's what makes the most captivating stories, where the characters do things that the writer had not expected them to do. So thanks for that question, and I'm going to actually show you a slide here that I had not meant to use in this session, but that is very good. So just 1 second. Okay, where is it? Okay, yeah, here it is. And now let me go to share screen. Okay, it's not showing me all windows. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So you see this? Known and unknown. So the known is the yang, the unknown is the yin. Okay, I have to collapse this window with your
Jordan
face.
Peterson. Yeah.
Yes, Jordan Peterson. So Jordan Peterson is very much into chaos and order, right? And it's very interesting. Yeah, so you guys know about Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
So he talks a lot about chaos and order, and what he talks about is, well, you could say that the universe is made of atoms and molecules, but on a deeper level, it's made of chaos and order. And this is what our brains are wired for. So this is, again, when we're writing, this is extremely important to realize, because it's important to realize the neurological processes of human beings, because that's your readers, right? And that is how their realities are created. So here we have the known, the yang, which is the white, the light. It's order, it's masculinity, it's day, it's the known, it's authoritarianism, and in its extreme unbalanced form, it's fascism, right? So, or maybe also in authoritarianism and fascism, right? And in yin, you have the unknown, chaos, femininity, night, the unknown, decadence, and nihilism. And so it's interesting here that, for example, in the extremes, we have nihilism on the one hand, fascism on the other hand, because nihilism is where nothing has any meaning, everything falls apart, you just live in total and complete chaos. And on the other hand, fascism is where everything is ordered, and it's ordered to such a degree that we don't allow anything new to come in. You know, it's like, it just has to be like this, and this is how it is, and it's never going to change, and the state is eternal, and these are the rules. You know, that's fascism. And so as writers, we want to strike a balance between those two. We don't want to go to fascism. Like you saw when I was talking about show don't tell, right? I became very rigid about the rules. Like I was like, no adverbs, okay? I don't want to see any telling here, you know? So that is kind of that style, like going overboard with order, like too much order. If you're like, I already know everything that's happening in the story, I know what I want to say, and a story like that will generally be a story where there's a morale, right? Where there's a moral to the story. Like, I'm writing the story because I have a certain opinion which I want to promote. And this is a story that has very little or no like life to it, because I just put it in as this kind of structure, and I want to draw a certain preconceived conclusion, and I want everybody to agree with me, right?
Like propaganda in a way.
Yeah, like propaganda. Yeah, like, so if you have works of art that are created under a totalitarian regime, like I'm sure you know, that can be kind of, if you have to, under communism, if you have to always have something about how
Great the dictator is.
Yeah, and the workers, how glorious it is to work for the, you know, that kind of thing. And then it very quickly becomes something that people don't really feel like watching or listening to or reading. But you have to have that unknown thing, and you have to have that chaos element in. But also, this course is mostly on the order side. So the reason for that, okay, so in this course, we're mostly focusing on order. We're mostly focusing on the structure we can bring to things. Why do you think this is? Why am I mostly focusing on order here when I said that we need to strike a perfect balance between chaos and order?
I find that general with all art forms, you kind of need to know the conventions before you can break them. Is it connected to that?
Yes, it is. And furthermore, it's also because you already have a lot of chaos inside yourself. Right?
We're women, all women here.
Right, exactly, because you're women. Me, on the other hand, it's all order.
You're all about order.
Yeah,
You're
I'm just order. Yeah. But yeah, so the thing is that as writers, which all of us are, because we've all, like, of course, I've written some books, I'm teaching this course, and you chose to sign up for this course and to invest money in this course. So, you know, that means that we've taken this on. It means that there's some passion there. And passion, where does passion belong? Chaos or order?
Chaos.
Chaos,
Chaos, of course.
chaos, chaos. And so, of course, we already have the chaos, right? That's not our problem. We don't have a problem of too little chaos. If you want to write, or you want to produce works of art, then you are an artist. You're an artist. There's already a lot of chaos in your life. So that's why I'm choosing to balance this. I'm choosing to balance this in this course to help you to put some order into your chaos, because chaos is absolutely fundamental to art. But what we can do on the technical side is add some order to it. And so when we add some order to it, it can help us finish and finish in a good way and with a solid structure. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. So, is there anything else that is unclear about what you have to do for next time?
So basically, we create the story from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
completely.
Completely
Yeah.
from the beginning. Yeah. And you choose the protagonist, everything about the protagonist. So, yeah. So now is the time when you really start working on your own story. And there are some things that I want to give you, which is some things about. I know we're kind of rushing ahead with a lot of details, but I want to give you some things about formatting, your when you write. So you don't need to format it in this way when you send me the outline. I mean the structure that you made according to the snowflake method. You don't need to do that, but you do need to do it when you actually write the story. So I'm going to show you this a bit now, and then perhaps some more next time. Probably some more next time. So let me see. Okay, so I will just open a file. Okay, here we are. Okay, I'm going to open my latest book in Kindle format. Actually, I'm not opening it in Kindle format. I'm opening it in Word format. Let me see. I'm opening it in Word format so that you can see, and this is probably not the latest version of it, but it will be, damn, where did it go? Yeah, this is probably, let me see. I'm just, yeah. Oh, we'll try this one. Because I want a file where the styles are visible, and sometimes because of conversion between different programs, the styles don't become visible anymore. So let me see. Okay, so this is my book currently called Conscious Living, that is about to be renamed to Your Great Work. So ISBN number, damn, I think this is the, yeah, sorry. Let me see, this is, why is the ISBN number there? Okay, well, let's try it anyway. Okay, so here, as you can see, we have the table of contents, and in the table of contents, you just you won't do that because you will just write the individual story, but we will make a table of contents when we make the anthology. So you can see that everything here is linkable. Control click to follow link inside the Word document. So I can just control click. Okay, then examples of great works, etc. And so, yeah, so each of these is linked. And that means that in the Kindle documents, it will become linked to. So now what I want to do is I want to show you the styles, because this is the important thing that you need to know. Okay, good. So Okay, so here, you saw what I did here. Like if you're in the home screen, does anyone not use Word? Okay, good. So you're all using Word. So that means that when you're in the home screen in Word, you have this bit here, and you click this little thing down in the right corner, and then you get the styles that are in the document. So the thing about your document is you have to put it into styles, and you can't use like extra spaces, you can't use the tab key at all when you arrange how the document is formatted. So and the way to check this is you see this one here, this one, you click this, and then you get the paragraph formatting becomes visible. So you can see there's one of these here, right? But if I press enter, then there are two, okay? And that's a problem because when you make, so I'll just press Control Z, because when you make a Kindle document, you should, when you make any ebook, you should not have two enters after each other or more enters, like like you can see like this, because that can be read differently in different e-readers. And so it's important to avoid that, because some e-readers will make a big space, some e-readers won't make any space, and it's complete chaos, and you lose control over what the document looks like. So we want our file, our Kindle book, to look impeccable. So we're not going to have that. Another thing is you will not have this one, the tab key. Oh, it won't even accept tab. Okay, I tried to press tab and nothing happened. I don't know. It's, yeah, it is what it is. But you see also, if you look at this space here between, between the two paragraphs, normally, if you do this in a Word document, there would be two of these, right? There would be two. You would press the enter twice, like, because to create extra space. But we don't do that. What we do instead is that we have here, if you see this, this style here, first of all, is this making any sense to you?
Yes.
Yes? Good.
Yes, I just want to double check. So once you click on styles on that little arrow at the right side, then you have to pick Kindle out of that list, because I see lots of things there in the table
Okay.
under the word style.
Yeah, so yes, because I have created a lot of styles for use in my books, but of course you won't have these styles in your Word document because you haven't created them, and you know, and Word was not made originally for making Kindle books. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you I'm going to send you a template with the different styles so that you can just work it into your story. But I'm showing you now the principles so that you avoid doing these things. So it's good to remember, don't press the enter key twice, only once, and don't use the tab key at all. Don't press the space bar twice, only once. And so, because again, otherwise there's like chaos in the way that the book is shown. So, yeah, so you do that, and and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how we do it with styles in order to control what's going on here. So here you see the style here in this paragraph is this one. It's paperback nonfiction, right? That's what I called it because it's a nonfiction book. So if I press modify, I see the name here. It's a paragraph style. Okay, so I used the same style for the paperback version and for the Kindle version. It didn't really matter so much. There are more details when we do paperbacks. So, for example, we have here the font. I've chosen Constantia. This doesn't come through in Kindle because in the Kindle you choose your own font when you read the document, so it won't. But I chose Constantia because that's how the book is printed in Constantia. Anyway, if we look here in format, paragraph, okay, then you will see here that, okay, the text is justified. This is again for the case of the sake of the paperback. And what else do we have here? Okay, so we have down here no indentation here, right? 0 centimeters indentation. So here there's no indent. That's because it's a nonfiction document. It's a nonfiction book, which the convention is that in nonfiction books we have just a space between the paragraphs, and in fiction books we have an indentation instead to mark the different paragraphs. So since this is nonfiction, the style that is called nonfiction, because the style is called nonfiction, doesn't have any indentation, and we would need to put the indentation here if we were having indentation, because we can't use the tab key. So here what we do is down here in the spacing, I've chosen 0 spacing before the paragraph starts and 15 points indentation after the paragraph. So that means that when I hit the space bar, the enter key, then I get 15 points of space to the next paragraph. So I can, so you see here, you see this space, this is the 15 points that has been defined in the style. So instead of pressing the enter key several times to get that space, I've defined it here. Okay. Right. And so another example is, for example, if you use a what's it called, a fiction, a book of fiction, then it will be indented. So let's see, maybe this one. Did it change? No. Okay. So I just change, and all right, so let's see down here. So yeah, so for example here, right? Then you see how it is with here, up here we have, I hope these styles will be visible. No, the style is not visible here. Okay, so that sucks. But I can tell you that this style is, this is a title, yeah, it says up here, right? This is heading 1. It's based on the heading 1 style, which means that it will automatically be linked in the table of contents. And this is the chapter title. And then here, do you see what happens here? Because this is how it is in a fiction, a work of fiction, we don't have any indentation in the first line, in the first paragraph, and then in the second we have indentation, and then on and on we have indentation. This is the convention. So in the first line of your story, there should be no indentation, and then in the second paragraph, there's and from there on there should be indentation. So this one is a style that I call fiction no indent, something like that. And then the next one is just Kindle normal or something like that. This has indentation. And so we use two different styles for the first paragraph and the rest of the paragraphs. And then if there is a break in the text, let's see where there's a break. There. So here there's a break in the text where you see these three stars. Here, again, there's no indentation. And you see that the stars here are perfectly aligned. They're in the center plus like horizontally here in the center, but here they're vertically also in the center. And I didn't do that by pressing the enter key several times and aligning it, because that would never be perfect. What I have done is instead work it into the style. So this style is the style that I call centered, and it has basically the before and after spacing aligned so that it will be in the center for stars. Yeah, that's how we do it. Okay, let's see. So, is that clear?
I think we have to try it to really get it.
Yeah.
But it was clear enough. Yeah.
Good.
I just
Good.
feel like I really need to do those steps myself in a Word document in order to figure it out together.
For sure, for sure. And so you will, the things you have to remember, because I will send you a document with the various styles in it. And so you can import the styles to your document. You can write in the same document that I will send you. So, yeah. And the things you have to remember is don't use the space bar twice, don't use the enter key twice, don't use the tab button at all, the tab key. And that's more or less it. Yeah.
I have a unrelated question, about your nonfiction. Do you have a date when it will come out, or?
This one is already out.
The nonfiction also?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
also
okay.
out.
I thought that was still in preparation.
No, this one is out. The only thing, it's been out for a couple of years. The only thing that is different is I'm going to make some changes to the cover. So and the title, but that is for marketing purposes on Amazon, because this has been kind of a long, bumpy road for me as a self-published author, learning that, okay, writing, this is what I love to do, is writing, and I would like to focus on. But if you don't also, I've been learning marketing along the way. I've also been using Amazon. Thing that really works is Amazon ads. You can definitely get sales using that. So I will show you how to use that also if we have time. And if there's interest for that. So yeah, this is a book that people have really, authentically given almost only 5-star reviews for, but I still wasn't satisfied with the number of sales. And then I've been reading up on it, and the things that you can do to optimize that is change the title, change the cover, you know, those things, because I've already optimized the copy on the ads. So yeah. And of course, I have to say it, if you are interested in acquiring a copy of Conscious Living, then
This is what I was going to ask.
there's very happy to get this question, of course, because, you know, we write books for people at the end of the day. So yeah, if you would like to buy a printed copy from me, it's possible. We can, you know, meet in town. It's also available on Amazon, of course, both in ebook and as paperback. So yeah. Yeah, and another thing on marketing is that it's good to have, since we're talking about that, it's good to have an email address, I mean an email list. What I have done up to now is I don't send out like newsletter style stuff. I've kind of sent an email twice a year has been what I've been doing. About twice a year when I have like a new book out or a new course that I really wanted, you know, that I really thought was worth advertising, you know, or, you know, because it was completely new. And also it's so I don't harass people, and I you know, and also it is split into who you are, so I can send you you know, regular news. So I have this question to you. I would like to add you to my email list, and if anybody objects, please let me know either here or send me an email, and I will, you know, leave you alone. So yeah. Okay, so but this is a good thing to know, because, and also you can see, I would say when it comes to this kind of thing, if you start going the self-publishing path, you should get an email list. It's the most important tool that you have. It's way more important than Facebook or anything like that. Way more, because there are various reasons for that, but which we'll get into it. And I have done almost nothing for my email list, unfortunately. So I'm forcing myself to work on that side of things, get a better website, get a, you know, a more kind of working email list and all that kind of thing. But as a foundation, it is very important to have one. Does anyone know why that is? Why are email lists more important than Facebook pages? And
Because are personal, of course.
Yeah.
We don't get lost in the news feed with everything else, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. You don't get lost.
There's something right above and right below when you may just not see it.
There's that. Any other reason? So both those things are correct. Can people think of other reasons?
You can find it immediately.
Yeah, you can find it immediately.
Inbox.
And the thing is that when you go on Facebook, like I go on Facebook to write one message, and I don't even remember why I went into Facebook, because there's all this nonsense coming up all the time and distracting me, and I just don't know what I'm doing there. And I find myself doing a completely different thing. And so it's very distracting, and your message can get lost in the crowd of messages. And also another thing is that Facebook's business model is that if you, for example, if you have a page as an author and you have a certain number of people who like your page, they may have really liked your page and they really want to get notified when something new happens with you, or you're doing something new, and that's why they like your page. But in many cases, they don't end up seeing your post because Facebook's business model is that you still have to pay to have it guaranteed that your followers are going to see your posts.
Mm.
I've noticed this with certain like arts pages that I follow, that I would have to actually go on the page to
Mhm.
see what's come up recently, which I find very strange given that I've accessed that page so many times that I would expect it to pop up on my feed, and it just doesn't.
Exactly. And
There are
it's
some algorithms, sorry to interrupt, there are some algorithms as well. If you comment how many times you comment or messages, or then it shows you
yes, that's
more.
true. That's true also, but it's even more nefarious because the thing is, for example, if you haven't liked the page or something like that, or you comment, you look, it starts showing you more and it starts wanting you to get in there more, starts attracting you. Especially if the person has paid for the ads, then it will attract you and it will do what it can. I mean, Facebook uses artificial intelligence to understand your personality, and then it tries to draw you in using your personality. And so, and then the thing is that then the person who paid for those ads got more likes, but then after that, they have to pay Facebook again for each post to make sure that the people who liked the page, the page, will actually see the posts. So it's like a never-ending cycle of giving money to Facebook, and if you have them on your email list, then the only way that they're not going to get your email is if it ends up in their spam folder.
Yeah.
But once that is taken care of, you make sure you send it out from a domain that is different, like from an authentic domain, and you perhaps write, if you don't get this email, check your spam folder and whitelist my messages. Then you know that they will keep getting your messages and you don't have to pay for anything. And you know that it's one-to-one. You send out to 1,000 people, 1,000 people get your message, instead of you send out to 1,000 people and perhaps 50 people get your message. So
I'd like to ask you something, because you mentioned self-published, and obviously that's in contrast to, I don't know, working with a publishing house or whatever whatever it is that you do with a publishing house. And I've always wondered about how that works. And I don't know, I'm assuming there is no time in the course to talk about this, but if there is, or if there's another possibility for another time for you to talk to us about this,
well, my question would be, are you talking about like English and American publishers?
Yes, I would think so. And really just like a intro to how this works for, I'm just
okay. So if we're talking about English language publishers, like we're talking about the United Kingdom or the United States, the Australia, New Zealand, then in general you need an agent. So first you have to sell yourself to an agent. And because most publishers in the Anglo-Saxon world don't accept unsolicited manuscripts, which means they don't accept manuscripts from authors who they haven't asked them to send their manuscript. So they will only accept manuscripts from agents, and agents that they respect. So that means that you first have to send stuff to your things to an agent, and you do that by sending like a synopsis, a very short excerpt, that kind of thing, so they can see how you write. And when you do that unsolicited, that's what's called the slush pile, and which means like it's basically what they call the slush pile. It means like basically it's a pile of junk that lands on their desk. And when agents have nothing else to do, they go through the slush pile just to see if there's that rare piece of gold in the slush pile. You know, when there's nothing on their to-do list, right?
Which is basically almost never.
Yeah, you could say so. I mean, no, but they do look at the slush pile, but you know how things work out, right? So they don't look, you know, it doesn't get a very high priority. Then after that, if your agent accepts you and gives you an offer and you accept the offer, then after that you have to, then the agent has to go to the publisher and send stuff in. And then the publisher will have to look at it. And if they like that agent, they will look at it. And then if they like what they read, then you will continue further on with the process. So as you can hear, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of, yeah, it's a struggle, to put it mildly, you know. So
Sounds very similar to how the world of professional acting works.
Right.
It's
Okay.
the same deal with the agent and everything else. Very similar.
And another way you can get into getting traditionally published is by if you self-publish and you sell a lot, and you have a big following on Instagram or something like that. You should say like, look, I have 500,000 followers on Instagram, and I don't know, 10,000 people bought my book last month. So I really think that you should get in on the action, you know, Mr. Traditional Publisher. But then, if you do that, on the other hand, then you
don't really need
them anymore. So
yeah.
So
what do you mean by self-publishing? I mean,
so self-publishing, that is what we're going to do on this course.
Okay, on the Amazon or whatever platform.
Yeah, so Amazon is the biggest platform. So did I show you the market shares that the different platforms have?
No.
Okay, I have a graphic. It's from a few years ago, but you get the idea. Let me just, all right. Okay, so I'm opening it now and share screen. Okay, so this is Amazon, right? This is Kobo, Apple iBooks. So the closest competitor, iBooks or iTunes, you know, has 11% of the market, or had that year. I think it was like 2016 or 2017 anyway, but because I've used this for a few years. But there you see Amazon with 74%, iBooks with 11%, and you know, the rest. So Barnes and Noble are really big; they have 8%. Kobo also big; they have 3%. So yeah, it's not that big, and also the way that it functions quite differently in the way that they do it, because Amazon are very good at giving you a chance as an independent author to get your stuff out there. Like, even if you're completely unknown, the algorithm will support you. If your book has just come out, it gives you a little bump. If people start buying it, it promotes it more, and so on. So you have more of a chance. On iTunes, they curate it, so it's people working for Apple who decide which books go on the front page of the website. And of course, if they've never heard of you, you're not going to end up on the front page of the website. So so that, you know, then you have to lobby them, and etc. etc. And also iBooks are kind of, they're much more difficult to work with. If you want to publish directly to iBooks, you have to do it from a Mac. You can't do it from a PC. When I published The World the first time, I wanted to do it directly to iBooks so that I wouldn't have to pay a middleman. So I had to borrow a friend's MacBook, and then I had to go through a very complicated protocol, which way more complicated than Amazon. And then after that, I wanted to change something, and so I had to again go to my friend's house and borrow the MacBook. So it was completely useless. So what I did instead after that is just use Smashwords for basically everything apart from Amazon. And Smashwords is a service that distributes to the different platforms. And they distribute for you to iBooks. So you can, that makes it much easier. And my idea, I mean, the thing is, I want to put this book onto Smashwords also, because then I can make it free, the book that we're going to publish, because Amazon don't allow you to publish anything for free. But they will if I publish it on Smashwords for free, and it ends up on iBooks for free. Then I write to Amazon's customer service and say, hey guys, this book is free here, but on your service it costs 99 cents. So please, could you make it free, because you want to have the cheaper than your competitors. And that's basically the way of making it free, but it's much more difficult to format for Smashwords because it has to be compatible with all formats when you do that. So it's quite a lot of work, and that's why I have a kind of a backlog with former courses where I haven't quite got it onto Smashwords yet. But some of them I have, and those books are free, and the others I haven't, and those books cost generally 99 cents. So yeah, 99 cents isn't much money either, but yeah, the aim is to get it onto Smashwords. Right, so yeah, so that was a foray into many different dimensions of the self-publishing and publishing world.
That was very interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think we shall end here. And is there any question about the homework before we leave? Okay, so I shall see you on Monday, and by that time I will have all of your outlines, you know, plus anyone who wants to edit the story that they have written for today, or anyone who wants to write the story that they haven't written for today, are welcome to do it and send it to me. And I will take it into consideration for possible publication in the anthology. So thank you very much for this evening. It's been a pleasure. And see you next time.
Thank
See you
you.
next time. Have a good evening.
Bye. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.